Happy Saturday, and welcome to the Ram Ashram Satsang Weekend Workshop, where you'll learn a modern Satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie, and I'll be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I'd like to give you a brief overview of this Satsang session. If you'll direct your attention towards your screen, you'll see the first element is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love in our life. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin this practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important part of Satsang. When we meditate, we withdraw consciousness from worldly objects and direct it inwards to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, thereby allowing us to obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of Satsang, inner Satsang and outer Satsang. An example of outer Satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer Satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior, but only through the practice of inner Satsang can we obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The Satsang that you will learn today is an inner Satsang where we meditate in silence. Group session. These weekend workshops are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our progress along our personal path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul. But only through the practice of inner Satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice Satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy, which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a Satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, you'll receive instructions on how to meditate, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions, or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of Satsang experience. He's the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ram Ashram Satsang. He was born into a Satsang family where he experienced his family members obtain states of enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating satsangs. And during that time, he witnessed the positive effects that satsang could have on mankind. And upon arriving to the United States, both he and his wife continued to facilitate satsangs for local satsangees. He has led teams of satsang members in translating important satsang literature into English and has worked tirelessly to make satsang more accessible to Western and English-speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout the United States, India, and England, facilitating satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
So thanks, Eddie, and happy Saturday, everyone. Glad that we are here in Satsang. And, one of the most profound ways of learning is to see if we have questions and we pursue those answers to those questions, right? So in the context of, a pursuit to peace, and, as Eddie described, some of the tenets of this practice. It's an inner pursuit, joy, inner happiness. But then, so question becomes like, have we really figured out what we're looking for? So 4 questions came, when I was, it was in a different context, but number one, so have we identified what calms our mind? I mean, meditation definitely should, but what kind of meditation should we pursue, or what kind of activities should we pursue? So have we figured out what calms our mind? Then another question is, what practice, what approach, what activities provide us inner strength to change our behavior for good? So, actually, if we continue to get affected by, we have talked about like toxic people, toxic environment, and even if that's not toxic, negativity kind of flows in one way or the other. So to change our reaction, to change our behavior, how we interact with others, we definitely need inner strength. So what gives us that, right? And faith and meditation and a lot of other practices provide that. How much are we pursuing those things, right? And then this question have we asked, simple, but uh, what cleanses and purifies our heart? Because maybe that's in today's environment, is that even a priority, right? But so what cleanses and purifies our heart? And then there is another thing which I think, so you may have those answers to the above questions. Something that I think comes in the way is time. So how much time do we have for these things? How much time do you want to give to this pursuit of purifying our heart, changing our behavior for better, and calming our mind? And, this practice probably does all of the above. And as we prioritize it's time efficient as well, and simple, but powerful. So, the note that I was making to myself was that there are many, many, many ways to calm our mind and relax. There are many, many meditation techniques, and I have asked some folks to start, writing about and discussing different meditation techniques, because I think as there has been more interest in meditation, but I think the misinformation or how to position what you're doing is equally important. So there are ways to meditate just for physical benefits, right? And it's good. I mean, there's no harm having better feeling of well-being and being well. These days, just a detox from daily hustle and bustle can be referred to as meditation. But I believe keeping a higher goal in mind is important. So do not underestimate your ability to become a real human being. And again, let's define that for ourselves. to become a wiser person who lives a life with higher consciousness. And again, so in the hustle and bustle and the daily pressures and other things that we're dealing with, is that even a priority, even conscious pursuit? So living life with higher consciousness is definitely a pursuit worth pursuing, because if you take those inner pursuits and the context that Eddie provided us, and a pursuit like satsang, inner satsang, inward orientation, moving towards inner peace and joy, in that journey, your purpose in life becomes clearer. And eventually, if you continue to vertically ascend, your environment, your community, will be affected in a way that a common and a greater good is pursued individually, as well as people that get affected by you. So on that note, let's get down into the practice. The whole idea here is that we want to the peace is within, and we want to connect to it in a very real way. So how do you do that? Is that you try to manifest something that's far higher than just love or gratitude. It's all that ought to be there: peace, love, light. So this, if you transcend all of that, and let's call that transcendental energy, transcendental light, let's try to manifest that within our heart, enlighten our heart with that, and then let that permeate within us and throughout our environment. So that's the whole goal here. So two important things first. So before we focus and concentrate on this transcendental energy in form of light, eyes lightly closed and still and relaxed posture. Extremely important, because every time the body moves, your mind moves with it, and just distraction and even sensory input through the eyes also distracts. So now close your eyes, sit in a still and relaxed posture, and then connect with this transcendental energy in form of light. That light is entering your heart and distributing throughout your body. You are becoming the light. And when mind wanders away, which it will, bring it back to this thought and this thought alone. And when mind wanders away, typically we go to the easiest form of activity that we feel calms our mind. However, the prescription here, so Guru Maharaj, my grandfather, who started this in 1930, is, his view was that just observing and connecting to this transcendental energy in form of light will bring a lot of those things together, including a concentrated state and this deep and growing connection with peace and joy. So you can do other things like mindfulness, etc., um, before or after. But during this, so we start with music to help concentration, but after that, we go into deep silent meditation on this transcendental energy. All we have to do is there's no activity involved. And let's try to refrain from, doing uh, any breath work, anything else, any other activity, just, you know, sitting in this calm and still posture, just observe this transcendental energy in form of light that's entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you are completely getting immersed in this light. And as I said, mind wanders away, just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone. So we are bringing our mind from multitude of thoughts to this one thought, and then that will fade away as well. That's fine, because, you know, uh, first you concentrate on your object of concentration, then you forget about what you were concentrating on, where you were, who you are, etc. So that's deep meditation, and then that leads to higher consciousness. So let's start now. Happy Saturday, everyone. Glad that we're here in Satsang. Uh, this is your time. Questions, comments, thoughts. Feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourself and ask. Yeah, just to keep the ball rolling in terms of the conversation. So, Luz, I was about to send you a note. Haven't seen you. So, how are you?
Saturday. No, things have been just a little bit busy, but I still very much cherish this group. I still, today was a very rejuvenating meditation, as always. Thank you all. Don't know that I have much
And
to
now,
comment.
now that you mentioned, I think at least the early part of meditation was also almost like effortless.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say it's the collective energy, right? So some it's it's, you know, it's the exponential impact of all the good energy.
Agreed, agreed. And of course, I appreciated the commentary that you provided before the meditation. Especially, everything that you said was very meaningful, but especially like just making the time to do it is important. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I was talking about that with someone this morning. You know, it's like when we are busy, I think taking out just a little bit of time for ourselves in this process, you know, if we cut down everything else, it can be done in 15 to 30 minutes. Uh, the only thing is that why what can be 15 minutes takes an hour is because we have to think about transition in and transition out. It's like, how do we get into a mode where we are able to meditate with everything else that's going on? So that switch over is what takes time. Otherwise, 5 minutes and we're good.
that's right. Yeah. I mean, I suppose I suppose, it depends on how the day is going and what your schedule agenda is. And sometimes you need to only do 5 minutes or 10 because that's all that might be allowed for. But the truth is, when you're able to do it for a longer period of time with the sort of gradual transition in and out, and the depth is much more fulfilling when you do it for a longer period of time. Like the benefits the are just more tangible. I don't know, that's my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. If you settle for, I mean, and it depends on your schedule, but if you settle for a place and time, that definitely helps because at that place, at that time, we get into that mode more quickly. But then that itself is, it's not easy with the schedules. But definitely worth it if we can afford to.
I think too that the more you practice,
Mhm.
I at least for me, in my experience, the more I practice, let's say you're in a situation perhaps stressful or just maybe too much activity, a little overwhelming, not bad necessarily, but you just need to go into a place of silence, a place of a meditative state. The more you practice, the easier it is to slip into that, even if it's for 5 minutes or 10 in the midst of noise or in the midst of wherever you are. The more practice, the easier it becomes for some reason.
Yeah, but interestingly, I think I find even for myself to some degree, actually, probably a large degree, it's true that, years and years into it, you still find calming your mind is not easy. And I was thinking about that aspect, and I always feel that, like sleep, if you keep thinking about it, if you keep researching about it, if you keep doing something, then sleep is a waste. So sleep, just, yes, you have to do a few things to make yourself comfortable and create that ambience or environment, but when and then you let it go. And after this, when you wake up, then you realize it was good or not. And I think meditation is the same way. The more you uh, think about it, research about it, and yes, all that may be important, but to let go is, not easy. And just once you sit in a group session, once you make this a practice, all those things help. But somehow, you have to make it a second nature, which is hard.
Oh, that's a good analogy for this to the sleep. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sanjeev.
Sure, sure. So what else? Any other questions, comments?
Hi, can you hear me? Hello, everyone.
Yeah, and apologize. So I was about to ask, what's your name again, Chris?
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm so sorry. The iPad 6. Karen. I have to do something with that.
I almost remember. I did remember, but I didn't want to be wrong. So, hi, Karen. So, yeah, how are things?
Quick question.
Mhm.
Would you say that for one, that part of this process is being able to let go?
I definitely feel so. Absolutely. And it's letting go is, as we were discussing, is part of the process itself, in the sense that we have to let go of a few things to get into meditation itself. But meditating, and if you practice a little bit, what you will realize is that you are able to let go of things, um, at least relatively easily. Or I wouldn't say easy. It's just, it gets better and better to at least it gives you that ability. How much you leverage and how deep you go is per individual, but it it does provide that ability to let go. Yeah.
The reason I ask is because I find I am juggling so many balls in the air, and it's very important for me to try to keep track, stay on time, take care of. Um, and so, with that type of, I don't know, personality, maybe, it's hard to then just sit back and let go. Because now I'm not doing and taking care of the things I need to take care of. And I don't know, there's a certain, I don't know, maybe even vulnerability in letting go. I don't know. Maybe
No,
not.
actually, I think maybe it's a cultural effect that, you know, it, these days it's very hard to do a few things which will actually help our well-being. Like, and I think I was talking about sleep in another context, but if we think about, 1/3 of our lives we spend sleeping, or kind of sort of. And it's so important. Like if you don't sleep for 2 nights, you will know how important sleep is, right? Similarly, I think disconnecting and meditation, one of the byproducts or one of the things that happens with meditation is that for at least 30 seconds or, for a given period of time, hopefully the entire period of meditation, if you focus on one thing, what you have done is you have removed the focus from other things. In a way, you may not call it letting go, but you did let go of those things because now you're focused on something else. Right? So what happens is the effect of that is that you are actually so there is research that says that when you meditate, you actually rest your mind, because while you're going everywhere and caught up in things and consumed by emotions and other situations, etc., the stress levels are increasing and so on and so forth. So it's not that you don't want to solve those problems or not want to work on things that you need to work on. It's like sleep gives you the ability so that next day you are refreshed and back into action. Similarly, just the ability to disconnect for a little bit, as we're discussing 10-15 minutes, that's actually investment into a more energized, a more focused, a more and hopefully even like operating at a higher level, right?
I totally agree. I absolutely see the benefits of it. I think it's the control, maybe.
I'm no,
fighting.
I'm totally with you. I get into those modes myself. I see people around me, and sometimes it's brute force that we want to solve problems, but
Yeah.
it's like even like before the exam, you take a walk, right? You take some deep breathing, and it helps to concentrate, right? And it's similar.
Yeah.
But I hear you. I think, see, this morning I was having this conversation, and where the emphasis was on when you are busy, when you are caught up in things, this becomes even more important. So you don't have to have elaborate like 2-hour meditations, but that 15 minutes that you take out for meditation, I think would be very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure thing, Karen. Very good. Very good. No, just whatever time you can carve out, this only helps. And I always say that group meditations, they have a higher energy, they have a higher, you know, you get your energy refreshed and um, and get to a higher level with even less effort. So it's definitely worth it. Awesome. Well, on the top of the hour, any other thoughts, comments? And Steve, if you're enjoying, please keep absorbing good energy. But always good to have you, and good to talk to you too.
Good morning.
Good
Yeah,
morning.
I've been away for a little bit. Tuesdays of I have a 20-year-old son with Down syndrome, and he has some activities at Gigi's Playhouse, so that's kept me from attending on Tuesdays, and just seems like
See, sometimes like the activities that we need to get into,
last week we were traveling, so
like
so
service opportunities that somehow come into our lives. I think those things are meditation in themselves, you know.
but yeah, so I went to the public library here the other day, and I came across a documentary on Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Buddhist monk that passed away just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I've always encountered his name in different situations, but I didn't know a great deal about him. So this documentary focuses on the art of mindfulness. And so I thought it would be interesting to watch. It's like 90 minutes long, and I got about 30 minutes into it, but just the importance of mindfulness and not getting too far ahead of ourselves and not too far behind. Really, the only thing that we have is what's right in front of us right now, and trying to make those moments productive. There's some fascinating observations. They go into Plum Village. He was exiled out of Vietnam during the war for trying to promote peace and end the Vietnam War. And he set up this Plum Village, and it's like the center, or the place to learn about mindfulness. It's just interesting because it's just actual footage of people living in this environment and how they approach mindfulness. And it's interesting in terms of food. When they eat, they prepare the food, and they try to be mindful of where the food came from and think about the farmers that produced it, and gain a greater appreciation not only for eating well, but all that goes into simply having access to food. And so I think if we just slow down, today I went out for a 15-minute walk before this meditation, and he talks about when you can have walking meditation, and when you walk, thinking about each step being like kissing the earth, it just puts you in a good frame of mind to begin the day. Just a sense of gratitude for the opportunity to be alive for another day and interact with people. And so the ability to come together here, I think I looked and saw 24 participants today. It's just beneficial to be in the presence of people that are all looking to create that positive energy and make the world a better place. So that's kind of what's going through my mind this morning. I know I tried to go back and watch one of the videos, I think from Tuesday, and you just talked about there being different types of meditation. And so the art of mindful meditation, I think, has value.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there are, I think, and I think Arvindji, yeah, he's here. So I'm working with him to spend some more time on types of meditation. And my grandfather talked about like 3 categories, where so if we look at basically three layers of benefits that we get, physical, psychological, and spiritual. So there are like 3 entry points, maybe we can say, where you focus on physical activity and your mind and brain kind of supports it, or you focus on your mental activity and the body and the brain supports it, or you focus on enabling the brain functions, which are like, decision making and memory and, perception and so on and so forth. So I think where what he said, the middle of the road is better, because through control of your mind, you could affect your physical activities, and eventually when the mental faculties evolve, your neuroplasticity and other things just go to a different level, and the third eye opens up and so on and so forth. And if you try top down, it has its own challenges. If you try bottom up, it's like takes longer, and but the thing is, there have been people, so the religions differ because there was a path someone found to achieve the target state, and they said like, hey, follow me, I'll tell you about this, and you will get to your destination. And different people got to that destination through different paths. And I think Guru Maharaj felt that all those paths have certain things in common, certain things to learn from, certain things to, and I think each one has its own nuances, or even obstacles, or, quote unquote, like some downsides maybe. So how do you carve out your most effective way to your target destination? I think that's the focus of spirituality, I guess. So
If you don't mind, just a word. And by the way, I just loved what you said. That was really great. But I love Thich Nhat Hanh. What a beautiful monk. And I also loved everything that Steve said. But I love that monk. It was very distressing when he passed away. But if anyone is interested and don't know much about him, it's easy to just YouTube. I know this is going to sound whatever,
I do
but
that. Yeah.
he did an interview with Oprah, and it was a really nice interview. I mean, and anything, you can YouTube him on anything.
Oh yeah.
But he was a good friend of Martin Luther King Jr. Actually, he was a good friend of Martin Luther King, and he really I kind of loved the story of their friendship and their collaboration. He really liked Martin Luther King's focus on nonviolence, protest, nonviolent, kind of political expression. I love that monk. So thank you for bringing him up. So wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So both of you have kind of reminded me of, so one, I think, Steve, you brought up the food aspect. It's so important in any, so if we want to be well, right, physically, mentally, and spiritually, food plays a very, very, very important part. And I think we underestimated, and not knowing that aspect costs us. And Liz, I think you bring up another point, nonviolence. Just to and Yam and Niyam, like yoga philosophy, nonviolence is one of the key elements there. And I think it's very, very widely and broadly misunderstood. To be nonviolent, you have to be very courageous, very brave, and very deep in your faith and understanding of who you are. Nonviolence is not about being meek by any means. It is only, you embody nonviolence only when you're, at higher realms for real. So, yeah. Great. Wow. What a way to, yeah, it was a great session and great discussion. So, Eddie, any wrap-up thoughts for today?
Just quickly, you started out talking about balance, and that's an important concept. The work we do in the world, our worldly activities, support our spiritual development, and likewise, our spiritual activities assist us in maintaining healthy bodies and being strong mentally and all these kinds of things. So we need to do both. So if we find ourselves in situations where we're doing too many worldly activities and not having time for our spiritual activities, we need to just stop what we're doing, think about it, and then try to work in our spiritual activities some way. And the same thing with spiritual activities. Sanjeev ji mentioned many times that this method is set up so that you don't have to be a recluse and go to the remote parts of the woods and do this meditation, but you have to participate in worldly activities as well. So a balance is good for spiritual and physical development.
Absolutely. And so thanks, Steve, Liz, and for the wrap up. Now, Arvindji, you still here? We were discussing a few things. So any quick last minute,
There's so much learning and grace and bliss and an amazing session. I just consider myself so fortunate to be able to join yourself and the group here. Just very fortunate. Only two words come to my mind about this satsang, is that it is powerful and simple. Powerful and simple. And I did some research, as you kindly suggested. All the research points to just this one focus, that if you're able to meditate the right way, you will gain not only benefits, but it will be physical, mental, and spiritual benefit. But most importantly, it's going to allow the person, the practitioner, they call it, live a life, a holistic and a full Mukambal Insan, a complete life, as Guru Maharaj said. So his grace is through you to all of us. And I pray that we all stay within that grace, within that bliss, and we continue to join you. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about types of meditation as we dive deeper. It's a lot of interestingly, like this year, multiple people talked about another mindfulness approach is Vipassana, and people were talking about, like, there is a 10-day retreat you do to just kind of, it's like cleanse your mind and so much more. So I was thinking of doing a weekend retreat or something, immersive weekend. Let's see. more on that, hopefully either sometime in next month or two. All right, very good. Thank you, everyone. Glad that we were here in Satsang, and love, light, and peace be with you. See you all very soon. Take care, and really appreciate everyone being here.
Namaste, Bhaiya.
Namaskar.